Tuesday, February 13th, 6 p.m. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Acosta Junior,
Here.
Councilmember Robles,
Present.
Councilmember Hernandez, Councilmember Gonzalez absent, Mayor Julian.
Here. Please stand with me for the pledge of allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The next item is a moment of thanks, appreciation, or condolences. Mr. Robles, do you have
Yes, just recently, we had two longtime residents here in the community pass. Aurelia Gonzalez, her husband was Jesus Gonzalez, sons Mikey and sister Leticia. Also the passing of Manuel Ramos, children Noni, Ruben, Elvia, Vicky, and Manuel. If we could have a moment of prayer for both longtime Guadalupe residents. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Good to go. Item number 4 is agenda review. At this time, the city council will review the order of business. Is there a council person who wishes to change the order of business? We're good? All right, next item is ceremonial calendar. Present firefighter of the year 2023. David Bonifacio, fire engineer. Chief Cash.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Thank you. Want to present here is, I think we have our other fire personnel here, and we got family that they'd like to come up also.
Don't be shy, keep up.
For 2023, 2024, the Elks, Santa Maria Elks Lodge, recognized fire engineer David Bonifacio as our firefighter of the year. A little background stated before is, I apologize. He did not get to have his free dinner there. That was my fault. But we did have representation. The thing that makes this unique, I know his family will also talk about, he's been with us, I think we said, what, 12, 13 years? Almost 15 years as a part-time firefighter, because he had another job. The dedication he showed to stay with the city of Guadalupe for 15 years, showing up, helping out, being on different events, showed the real dedication that he had, not only to the city, but to our fire department. When the opportunity arose for him to become a full-time engineer, it took a little bit of convincing, because he did have an outside job, and he was going, do I give up that? Do I come here? We are blessed that he made the ultimate decision to come here. He has been a staple of this city, of this department for a long time. He put in a lot of time, a lot of hours, and it's almost a step back to be full-time as much time as he has put in through 15 years without being paid. That shows his dedication, and we are honored to have him as our firefighter of the year for the city of Guadalupe 2023. Thank you.
It's true, it did work a lot, but I love this job and I'm gonna do it as much as I can and until I can't do it anymore. So I'm gonna put all my heart and soul into this and love working here for the city.
Well, we appreciate your commitment to the fire department and to the residents of Guadalupe, so thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Chief will get you that dinner.
Did you tell him that Gene already ate it or what?
Oh, he knows. I didn't leave none for him.
Oh, yeah. The next item is proclamation, Black History Month, February 2024. Proclamation, February 2024, Black History Month. Whereas during the Black History Month, we celebrate the many achievements and contributions made by African Americans through economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development. And whereas in 1926, Black History Month grew out of establishment of Negro History Week by Carter G. Woodson and Association for the Study of African American Life and History. And whereas in 1976, Black History Month was formally adopted to honor and affirm the importance of Black history throughout our American experience, which dates thousands of years and includes some of the greatest, most advanced and innovative societies that we can all draw inspiration from. And whereas since 1976, every American president has designated February as Black History Month and endorsed a specific theme. And whereas 2024 Black History Month theme is African Americans and the Arts. And whereas the observance of Black History Month calls our attention to the continued need to battle racism and build a society that lives up to its democratic ideals, and whereas the city of Guadalupe continues to work toward becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens, past, present, and future, are respected and recognized for their contributions and potential contributions to our community, the state, the country, and the world. Whereas the city of Guadalupe is proud to honor the history and contributions of African Americans in our community, throughout our state and nation. Now, therefore, resolved by virtue of authority vested in me as mayor and on behalf of the city council of the city of Guadalupe, I do hereby proclaim February 2024 as Black History Month and encourage all citizens to celebrate our diverse heritage and culture and continue our efforts to create a world that is just, peaceful, and prosperous for all. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Nobody here to receive this, but Chief?
Can I?
Please.
I am honored.
I want to uplift how important it is to honor and celebrate the vibrant heritage of the Black community, embracing the beauty of diversity and acknowledging the incredible impact of the Black community.
Thank you. All right, I don't see anybody here for the Guadalupe Business Association, unless there's a presentation. Are they zooming or what?
No, they were gonna come here and just do a verbal, no big presentation, so
Okay.
I'm not sure why they're not here.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we'll go on to the next item, 7, is community participation. Each person will be limited to a discussion of 10 minutes or as directed by the mayor. Mr. Albert Nunes, you're up, sir.
Good evening. Thank you for the time tonight. I just wanted to make a few announcements from the Historical Society. The first one is I just emailed our yearly newsletter to you all, to the city council, and I did it a half hour before the meeting, so you haven't seen it yet, but it's there. It just shows all the things that we did last year and some of the things that happened in the city and looking forward to this coming year. Our treasure sale is gonna happen on March 16th from 10 to 2, and we're gonna use the proceeds from that sale to buy the special paint that we put on the jail. Apparently, it's some paint that covers up or deals with graffiti in a scientific way. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I know it's expensive, and so that's what our proceeds will be going for this year. And then finally, our Heritage on Display project that I did last year in the main lobby, we're gonna start again for next month, and that's National Women's Heritage Month. And I invite anyone who would like to recognize a longtime resident or a short-time resident who has made Guadalupe their home. Just to email for more information to guadalupemuseum@gmail.com. And I'll get back to them. It's a short questionnaire and a few pictures, and I put everything together, and that's how we'll do it. So Yeah,
Where is the treasure sale?
right, it's gonna be at the Red Barn behind the Yellow House and the Cultural Center. So that's so Heritage on display, so please, if you'd like to include someone or include someone or include yourself. Please, just to record the stories. Last year for Women's Heritage Month, we had Ruth Gamble, Pam Amberzetti, Joanne Lopez, Mary Saavedra. I mean, we had people that have been here for the first year, their whole lives, and we, become part of Guadalupe's tapestry that we all live against. So anyway, that's it from mine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Albert.
Thank you, Albert. Does anybody have a bio on Amelia? We can-
What?
Right, I'd love to have more information.
Out of kindergarten picture.
Oh, here.
Good idea.
Next.
I'll write that down.
All right, item number 8. Consent calendar. Is there a council person who wishes to pull an item for the discussion, or is there a motion to approve the consent calendar as noted?
I make a motion to approve the consent. Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. All ayes. Thank you. Management reports.
Yes, sir. Oh,
I'm good. Okay, city administrator. report.
okay, yes, sir. I call it the tectonic plates of activity that are going on. That's my new phrase right now. The first to start off with, not part of the report because we received a word that, council member Megan Lizaldi, resigned. And so, talking with Philip, we can come back with, something for the next meeting, and I'm sure you all have a process and you probably want to carry, I'm just guessing, similar to what we had done before. But just keep that in mind
Yeah,
and,
what I would do is, those that applied before should be should be known, let them know that what's going on, and then basically use a footprint that we did before.
Agreed, Mr. Mayor. We were planning on notifying those individuals of what's going on and bringing the option to either point any of them at the meeting or seek other applications. So, but we can't take action on that right
No,
now, so that's why
sure.
we're gonna do it that way.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Good job.
okay, and then also, the Central Coast Processing, there's tours scheduled, and there's on the 20th, the mayor and Gilbert, myself will probably attend that. If others want to, there's some dates here, 2/26 to 3/1, 10 to 5, 3/4 to 3/7, 10 AM to 5, and then 3/11 to 3/14, 10 to 5. If you're interested, let me know and I'll work out a schedule with the owner of the property. Just email me. We've had the storms, of course, that had several meetings on that, and preparedness talked about that. Looking to see what kind of funding we possibly can get on the agenda. We also have the declaration, which will be discussed in terms of declaring, because Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency, and we'll do the same. Just this is a smile event right here, January 24th, the interest from January 31st, interest was 50,000 and some change. Total since October 15th, when the account opened, was 166,000. Central Park project, I know Mary emailed me today. We have a deadline application that we submitted that the mayor signed for it's a status report, so we're keeping going with that. If you have any questions about some of that, 70% of the plan check has been completed by Jeff, the engineer. Santa Barbara County home sales, we're poised to be in a better position than we were. They dropped slightly. A whole plethora of information on that if you want to read into that a little bit more. There was a Pasadena budget rail pre-hearing today regarding something that worked with the CPUC that's moving quicker than we anticipated. It looks like it's in a positive note. There was a hearing there. I didn't attend that, but I was in other smaller meetings before that, but I know the city attorney attended that. Measure A, Cycle 4 Competitive Grant School Sidewalk, pre-application was submitted on December 15th. February 16th is the final submittal for the entire application. The overall disbursements for all agencies is 1.8. We put in for 680,000 to help the school out. So it was Dina Bortz, I think if I got that right. Myself, Jeff Vanden Eyck, and others have been a part of that discussion, putting that grant together. Christina Rose. There'll be a public records training sometimes towards the end of this month, so that we can all be educated. Our regular staff will be trained on it for an hour, and then PD for 2 hours. And Wendy's gonna be doing that for us on how to handle public records and requests, so that we're doing the right thing to save us issues down the road. Office of Traffic Safety Grant, the chief's aware of this. I just got it in an email, so I thought I'd just mention it, that on January 31st, the city submitted the OTS grant requesting funds for the radar equipment and pass devices. So that was submitted in the amount of 25,000 for like alcohol screening equipment, printers, all kinds of different little pieces of equipment for that. I was informed by the mayor that the Guadalupe, there will be a school reunion summer of 2024. Keep your eyes open. I believe it's planned for August 3rd. And it's the Guadalupe Sports Hall of Fame is a nonprofit that's in the planning process. And the mayor can certainly, I'm sure as we get further, he'll talk more about that. Leroy Park Phase 1. State of California Department of Parks Recreation reimbursement. Got our last reimbursement for $177,000. ROPS, that's been submitted. The long range property management plan for the disposition of Al's Union is in the works. It's going up to the Department of Finance. It's went through the successor agency, the oversight board, now to the Department of Finance, so that we can hopefully hold on to that property rather than having to sell it off to a private entity. Electric bus update. There was going through some issues with that company, but they have since got their engineers and they've diagnosed the problem, but they're not quite there yet. They're working on that. There's a little attachment for the Animal Services Administration update I threw in here. This one, I think, I know it's more near and dear to Christina's heart, is the Point Cell Dunes Marine Protected Sanctuary. There's some work that they want to do in a specific area, and there's a meeting on it February 14th for more information about that. It's a marine protected area. And Christina, do you want to talk a little bit more about that, or?
I wasn't able to connect with them.
Okay.
But there is a difference. There is being proposed a national marine sanctuary.
Yeah.
This is different from an NPA.
Okay,
So I wanted to understand this a little bit differently, but it is.
it's complicated.
Information, public comment is supposed to be February 14th.
Yes.
But this information is kind of really important because of the difference that NPAs.
Okay. It's just a lot. And also the chief and I have been working with, it's called the Neighbors to Neighbor Grant. It's in the amount of 500,000, and we didn't have any material, but the chief has his material for the GSST, and we thought we could use that as part of, it's already put together, so we sent it off to Christina Rose in this program, so we're hoping that we can get money for that program. It just kind of timed right. Staff team building, JPIA training. We're gonna do a team building exercise through the insurance company that we use. And we're gonna talk about communication and change, and that's gonna happen. Right now, we're earmarking early March 2024, so that'll be an all city get together in terms of team building exercises. I won't get into the Black Road project because we've seen that before. Slow local route, March to April opening, we're thinking. No certificate of occupancy yet. City of Guadalupe Special Tax District, this is just, I want to just throw this out there and see if you're interested in the idea, and I mentioned it before, of working towards maybe thinking about community facilities districts in terms of services and other things, maybe even for the Royal Theater. So I'm hoping maybe to see if I can bring a fiscal agent to one of the meetings to talk about
programs that could help support and help the city put these together to generate additional revenue for the city on an ongoing basis. The climate action plan is still in the works. It's for the Bren students of the UC Santa Barbara to put together a document that will, it's a climate action plan. And remember Shannon was talking about it. It's something we didn't have the funds for, but now we have these students, these masters, they're in the master's program to do that for us. And I passed it by Larry because he was worried that it might be too, I guess, as he put it, draconian. And he felt that after talking to him, he feels really good about it, but they're still waiting to see if they get the funding for that. Central Coast Community Benefit for the processing plant, as you recall, 3% was in total, 2% would go to our general fund based on sales, and then 1% for nonprofits. So we got a check for in the amount of 32,000. So about 12,000 of that can go to nonprofits. And I put a list of the nonprofits in here, and I was wondering, maybe I could come back and see where you guys would like to distribute those funds. You could pick, you could break it up, you could give it all to one, but just something to sort of think about in terms of that donation. But that's in a check right in my office and ready to be deposited.
That was 12,000?
Well, it's the total is 32,000. That's 3% of the 1,168,000. So let me think here. What is it? 10,689 would go to the nonprofit of that 32,000 total. So around, 11,000 could be sent off to the nonprofits. Let's see. LAFCO, I met with them today regarding, they want to do an MOU. It's called a Sphere of Influence. And so in talking with them, I know that we have done our 2042 plan, and I just let them know that the intentions of the council wasn't to expand its boundaries beyond what it is, and that its idea was to grow to about 12.5. So I let them know that the city's not looking to grow and expand beyond its boundaries. That's at least what was stated in the 2042 plan. Townsend Public Affairs, there's a memo in there that shows all the different grant possibilities. And then a little note from the mayor regarding the public meeting for the regional transportation projects on the 31st. I want to throw that in there because I thought that was a nice touch at the end of this report. That includes my report. Thank you.
First one, did you skip, yeah, Coastal Stories Project, not number 9.
Oh,
It's here.
I'm sorry. I am very sorry about that. I was probably in my nervousness there. Coastal Stories Project. This is, I was approached by this group. It's something to finish off and continue with what Christina was working on. And what they want to do is, and I'm sorry, I didn't want it because this is huge, because you may not want, what would you call it? Educational signs in each park. So if that's something you're interested, as it's listed right here, one for Leroy Park, one for Central Park, O'Connell Park, City Hall, and 2 parks in Pasadena. They're basically 2x3 signs. They are interpretive signs, and it won't be any cost to the city, and they'll pay for our city staff to install them. And it's regarding dunes education. So I know you can't make decisions here, but I'm just wondering how your thoughts are on that.
It's just interesting to sit by the Orca at the O'Connell Park. Are you talking about the barbecue wall? Or is this a standalone?
Yeah, I think it's a standalone.
The mirror would be on the wall, by the she pits.
It'll be on that side, it'll be on the west side.
I wish that they would have came here to kind of, because I haven't been there in a while, so I don't know the most recent update.
What I could do is have them come back and give a little presentation or an update.
Yeah, because it would be amazing to see interpretive science to connect the community.
Right, yeah.
This is, something that is very much needed. I know it'll be bilingual. It'll have not only material and text, but also video, connecting the community of Guadalupe to the coast, which is very important. But I think some other questions is like, it would be nice if we can at least be able to have input on pre-design.
Yeah.
Before we just
Sure.
out there, and then also maybe an MOU on maintenance.
Oh, I think those are great. I will try to, have them give a presentation at the next meeting. If that works for you,
Okay,
unless you want something different.
I have a quick question for Todd. I know Jeff's not here today, but how far along are they with the opening of the Guadalupe Beach? Do we have any updates on that? With the completion of the road repairs?
So the last I heard in talking with Corey was, he had a pretty good date of March, April. That's what I had heard from him. But Jeff, I don't think really knows. I think he's the one, that's the last I talked to him. He feels March, April.
On that note, we asked Corey for just a brief update on the trail, from the levee to Guadalupe. I know that the county supervisors approved it.
the river trail, yeah.
Yeah, over maybe 2 years ago, so just a brief update. And then you mentioned flooding. And I just saw something online, from on 805 undocumented. And they provide financial assistance to undocumented immigrant households impacted by the winter storms in December 2023 and the beginning of 2024. 805undocufund.org is their website.
Thank you for that. That it, Don? Any other questions from
Real quickly, foreseeable date for the slow cow, are they giving us a timeline?
Yes, I ran into Austin and Adam at the UPS store, and I just kind of asked him, and he said, again, here's another similar time frame: March, April.
Okay, very
I mean,
good.
they're kind of far along actually in terms of their
Very
building
good.
permit stuff.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, next item. Did you include is the building report in here? I'm sorry,
I can go over that. Jeff's not here, and I thought maybe I could go over his report as well. The
go ahead,
building
yeah, give us a brief update.
on Jeff's.
Jeff's.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna read this because it's just easier. So various Caltrans projects, well, you already know about the open house and all those projects. Would you like to go over that?
Sure.
Okay. Amtrak Station Improvement Transit Hub. The city has received a Clean California grant from the state of California. Once the city council approves the agreement and the funding is secured, a request for proposals, and that's on the agenda tonight, you already approved it. Proposals will be sent out to local firms to provide design services for the project. Depending on the project cost, the project may include public restrooms, electric vehicle charging infrastructure, bicycle amenities, pervious pavers, improved signage, and site beautification upgrades. The total project funding is 1.3 million.
Can you hold that right there on that topic? Is that everybody knows that there's a caboose there. And many years ago, it was put there as a chamber office.
Yeah.
Have you ever walked in that thing?
Yes.
What, at Amtrak?
No,
The old
caboose.
caboose
Where at? I'm
over by the
The
Amtrak.
Amtrak station? Oh, yeah, the
But,
Amtrak.
Have you
Yeah.
walked up that?
Yes, I've been
Yeah.
inside there once.
Yeah.
I don't know where we got the. key.
Nobody can go walk up. I mean, an
Yeah.
ADA person can't.
Oh,
No, it's
no.
not, yeah.
And,
It's not
and
accessible.
it may be, somebody may be out there that says that they want it there, but it seems to me that it's not useful. If there was more parking that's needed there to where you can park without having anybody hiding behind that thing, but if you ever go in there, people should look at it to see, is it functional? If you tear it all out and use it for some kind of building, it would work. But I don't,
It's my understanding that the design of the project was to actually have that be removed in terms of the whole footprint. And that it's not, at least when Shannon and I mentioned, it's clearly not ADA accessible. And you'd have to gut it out, and there's so much.
no, you can't, okay, well, at least that's in somebody's purview to see.
Yeah, I mentioned that one of the GBA meeting, and a lot of people, we want that. So there's people that
Oh,
want.
they could put it wherever they wanna put it, but
Yeah.
it's, if they're looking at increasing the capacity from to 140 people a day, you're gonna have more you're gonna need more parking,
Yeah, that's what I
and more,
understand.
and more visual in terms of, what people see there, because it kind of gets lost in that,
Yeah,
in that unit being sitting there, so.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so, Central Park, the design team for Central Park renovation project has submitted 70% plans for the review by the city. Recent meetings, of course, have focused on drainage and fencing for the project. The design team has presented three options, of course, chain link, composite fencing, and concrete. It seems like we're leaning towards chain link. Discussions are ongoing with cell providers for temporary moving antennas and recording of the elevated tank. A lot of discussion that could be had on this one.
Right.
Phase two improvements for Leroy Park, Andrew Goodwin Designs is currently preparing plans for the multipurpose room project. 308 Obispo Street site improvements. The design of the 208 Obispo, somehow that's
Yeah, that's a good.
308.
One more number
Yeah, site improvement is ongoing. City staff holds bi-weekly meetings with PG&E and the design team regarding the project. Project includes charging facilities for future electric buses and electric feet, and actually, I think it's 303 Obispo, not 308. Highway 1 and Pioneer lift stations. In March 2023, the city awarded a contract with W.N. Lyles to replace the aging lift station on Highway 1. After the project award, the Public Works Director identified available CDBG funding for the project. The project was suspended pending the outcome of the grant funding request. On January 11, 2024, the city was notified that the grant funding was awarded and could be expended. The city engineer, city staff, contractor, and construction management team recently met to discuss the project. Due to the project suspension, the costs have increased. Go figure. Additionally, the electrical components to operate the lift station have a 52-week lead time. The Pioneer lift station cannot be constructed until the Highway 1 lift station is completed. The city engineer is trying to determine the best time to send the Pioneer lift station out to bid. And here's some little developments that review various things. Pasadena, the Lot 1 South final map is being reviewed. 849 Pioneer Street plans have been resubmitted for staff review. 12th Street apartment plans have been submitted and are under review.
On the 849 Pioneer Street, the first one, he's not here, but what are we talking about?
I believe it's those apartments that are,
Well, that's,
The ones
Yeah.
behind the-
yeah, those, I think it's 12 units, somewhere in there, just out, it's not in the flood zone.
That's the one that we approved.
I think his name is Todd Edwards. I think that's the
Okay.
developer.
okay,
But I was thinking of that myself, and I actually had a call by a person that was in the flooded area. I forget her name, Kelly.
yeah, Gable,
Yeah, she was concerned with that project, so I had to talk with Larry and others to see where we're at with that project. They removed a building that I've heard, there's a house or something that got removed down there for that project,
well,
for the 849 Pioneer Street project.
all right, there's a question mark on that.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions, Todd, on the report? Okay. Let's go to, if you're okay with the Director of Public Safety report information only, Chief Cash?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Quick report here is one we received, about a week or so ago. Flood barrier baskets from Santa Barbara County Office of Emergency Preparedness from the state. They brought it down from Sacramento. We have that in a container in the city facility yard on Obispo. And what that is, it gives us the ability, in case of flooding, to be able to put these baskets in the flood zone area, to be able to block off water. So this way would be a lot more self-sufficient. Also, because of the last rains that we did have, I spoke to Mr. Craig Smith over in Pasadena, and we're working on a drainage system we cannot put a, dirt barrier because that would push the water back onto Highway 1. But we're working, he did come up with a good possibility that we'll be able to take the water from the area that usually drains in the front part of Pastera and be able to push that into our drainage system. So we'll have less chance of flooding on that first street. Also, we had a luncheon last week where we had all the city employees that came together, and we talked about our response to natural disasters and flooding and so forth. And we appreciate the mayor was there. And it was a very good time. We got a lot of communication. Everyone got to meet each other and with new people, and our city clerk / human resources / ambassador to Guadalupe / everything else.
Library committee.
Oh, library committee. I don't know what else she does in hometown. But she won the emergency preparedness bucket. And that was for the raffle. So that was a good thing, and we got a lot of positive feedback from our employees of something that we'd like to do in the future. What I passed out tonight to each of our council persons and our staff was our emergency response and procedures manual that the council had approved. This is a book form here, and we're also gonna be able to put this on our website so that citizens will have it, but it gives everyone an opportunity to understand how we're gonna deal with certain situations, how we can also do cost recovery. It gives a step-by-step in that, and how our citizens can be better prepared themselves in case of emergency. So we're still gonna do training along with this. We'd like to do a training session for our city council, training session for staff, and we'll be doing a training session for our community. And with that, we also had our meeting with our GSST. They're ready to kick off, and we're gonna be sending them to CERT training. They'll be their first group activity, where they'll be learning about how to deal with emergencies and help out as volunteers in our community. So that's my report. There's questions.
A comment on this FEMA mission assignment. This is a great report. The one you just sent, the one that handed out.
Yes.
And is there any way we can get this on our website?
Yes, I will, that showed about the baskets and everything.
Right.
Yes, I will make sure that,
Talks about.
It actually has to, 'cause you passed it out.
yes. Okay, yes.
I'll make sure.
It's, page 5 really indicates that one house at the end of 9th Street is basically an island. Maybe not an island anymore, maybe it's a pond, or it can be, but anyway, it's a very good report. Thanks, Chief. Any questions for Chief?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, where are we? Recreation Service Manager's report.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I don't have a whole lot to report. The father-daughter dance is going to be this next Friday, so February 23rd from 7 to 9. We will open doors at 6:45 for people to begin arriving. The cost is $40 per daddy-daughter couple, and then an additional 15 for if there's additional daughters attending. The deadline to register and pay is this coming Friday, so February the 16th, before 5:30, because that is when finance closes. What else? We have a March Madness tournament coming up that the commission last night actually decided that we're going to rename the Joe Harris basketball tournament. So that'll be Saturday, March 23rd. The time is to be decided because it just depends on how many teams we get to register. Just for filling out, creating the brackets. There's going to be a recreational league and a competitive league. There'll be 12-minute games. So they'll be short. It's half court, 12-minute games, 3-on-3. You have to have at least 3 people and no more than 6. Fees per team is $45. It'll be here at City Hall. It is open league, so there's no requirement for a certain amount of females or a certain amount of males. On the liability waivers, there's a portion at the bottom that is consent that everyone has to fill out, consenting that they acknowledge that it is an open league, so females or males and any mixture of age or gender can be on a team. The difference between the recreation and the competitive league, recreation league is more just for bragging rights. There's not going to be like a trophy or shirts or prizes or anything for winning. It's just if you have nothing to do that day and you want to get some exercise in, you can register for that league. That will be single elimination for that league and bracket, and then the competitive league will be double elimination. And then the championship game will be 2 12-minute halves with 2 referees, and they will receive, they don't get to take the trophy home because the way that we do trophies is it's ones where you put like a little placard on each one. Yeah. But they can obviously take pictures with the trophy. We are leaning towards doing hats just because shirts are hard with sizes. Obviously you can't know who's going to win at the end of it, and then trying to get information from people after the fact is sometimes can be tricky, or getting a hold of them and getting things to them. So we're thinking hats because it's more one size fits all type of thing. The deadline to register is March. Excuse me one second. Forgot. March 18th, Monday, March 18th. And that'll just give us time to be able to create the bracket and figure out times and let all the teams know what time they need to be there. If there's any questions on that, all of the rules, the team registration forms, the liability waivers, all of that is on the city website. If you have questions, feel free to call the rec office or email. That is all of the events that I have. If there's any questions on the report.
Any questions, Hannah? No. All right, thank you, Hannah. Go to regular business, item 13, resolution ratifying and proclaiming the existence of a local state of emergency. Mr. Bodo.
Thank you. This is like deja vu again. It's a similar document that we're asking to approve a resolution ratifying and proclaiming the existence of a local state of emergency. Governor Newsom declared a state of emergency in California on February 4th, and the Santa Barbara County did so at the same time. Proclaiming a local state of emergency is essential. For reasons here. A local emergency may be proclaimed only by a governing body, which is the city here, or by an official designated by ordinance adopted by the governing body. Whenever a local emergency is proclaimed by an official designated by ordinance, the local emergency shall not remain in effect for a period in excess of 7 days unless it has been ratified by the governing body. The governing body shall review the need for continuing the local emergency at least once every 60 days until the governing body terminates the local emergency. Jumping ahead a little bit, in light of all this, as well as the governor's proclamation, the city administrator, the director of emergency services, on February 7th, we issued a proclamation of the existence of a local emergency, or I did. It was determined by the several meetings we had as a result of the February 2024 storm. So city staff is recommending that the city council adopt the attached resolution to proclamation of the existence of a local state of emergency as of February 24th, 2024. Due to the ongoing nature of the emergency, staff is recommending that the emergency declaration be extended up to a 60-day period with intermittent reviews at regular scheduled council meetings. The council will thus have the ability to terminate the declaration during the 60-day period when and if conditions are, improved. And what's good about this is we can apply for different grants based on us actually, or you approving, this declaration or this resolution. Thank you.
Just, any questions of Todd? Is there a motion to adopt resolution? Although, just looking at the resolution, there's a typo, but that's not
Where is it?
Please,
on the top, on the actual resolution number 2024-14. At least on my paper. Not a biggie.
where? Sorry.
Read
Oh.
resolution.
On the title.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
No biggie. Is there a motion to adopt resolution
that.
number 2024-14?
With the corrections.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Good catch.
Discussion, roll call, please.
I'm sorry, who was second?
Ms. Hernandez.
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Aye.
Councilmember Robles,
I,
Councilmember Hernandez,
Aye.
Councilmember Lazaldi,
Resigned.
Mayor Julian.
Aye. All ayes, resolution passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, item 14, senior center, activities coordinator job description. Ms. Villegas.
Lost the standard. Okay, be brief. This is a new position, obviously it's a part-time position. It's been established at 30 hours per week. The intent is to, let me go backwards a little bit. Back in the 80s, 1980s, the senior center was built, which is now called Senior and Community Center. It was built to provide services and to support the seniors of the community. It's gone through a variety of iterations since that time. And as recent as September last year, the nonprofit group that was there vacated a good center, and it became apparent that there's a need for an on-site presence there. Because of the ongoing activities, we know that there's the meal program there. By the way, as an editorial comment, I know several people who do go to the meals. They say it's very good.
Yeah.
This recent, the pre-order
Right.
program that we have now, yeah, they say it's very good. Also, I was mentioning that this position is going to be hopefully approved, and we'll be recruiting for it. And an individual who is a part of that meal program said it's gonna be good, because there's an individual who tends to get a bit rowdy.
Yeah.
And doesn't listen to people when they tell them to be quiet. This has been funded, there have been various grants that have been funded primarily for the senior center. And this position will be funded through the CDBG, CD2 and 3. The primary purpose will be to open and close the facility, to provide assistance to the meal program, as I mentioned, which is a daily program. We'll oversee any activities that are there. And again, it's the presence that's the most important for the safety of those who use the facility. It is a position that was discussed with the SEIU. We agreed to a salary grade of 154, which has a minimum salary range of $20.76 to a maximum of $27.82. This impact, as I said, is it will be funded through the CD2 and 3 grant monies and other grant funding may be available for this position in the future. Any questions?
Just a comment, what's happening lately is that we've got, besides the meal program, there's exercise going on, there's arts going on.
There's arts.
Yeah, so, and what happens is that there's nobody, there isn't anyone that can actually monitor who comes in and out. And, there's been one or two individuals that have been basically going in there and scaring people, so. And I know that Hannah and Eddie and they have an office there, but they can't be there all the time. But someone needs to be there to actually help with a meal and then to generate, because there are resources in the future that if we maintain that senior center, that actually we'll have some resources, that'll continue to maintain other programs.
Yeah, it'll be looked at as a site for presentations, and this individual will help coordinate.
Right.
a virtual type.
Right.
And make sure things run smoothly, I suppose.
And as a side note, the chief and I walked over there in terms of, looking at another site in case there's a reason to vacate another area for, when they have to leave their homes, they can actually use that site because it has restrooms, it has kitchen facilities, it has places they can, set up cots as the auditorium. Sometimes the auditorium is a little too big unless there's a huge need for that. But if the senior center were available, and the veterans building were available, for emergencies, so part of what the chief is doing with the emergency group is to keep that in the house too, and then that person would help with that too, so. And also the food bank, so one person would help with that.
Yeah, food bank is also.
Okay, go ahead.
Would this have the potential eventually, maybe in the future, turn into a full-time?
Ideally, if the activities at the center increase, most definitely. But it's easier to start off. with
Oh, yeah, smart, yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I was just wondering, like, later on.
With
That's
funding
good,
available,
yeah.
with funding available,
Oh,
of course.
that's good.
To be determined. To be determined. Okay, is there, any discussion or comments or questions of Amelia? Is there a motion to adopt resolution 2024-15?
I motion to approve resolution 2024-15.
I'll second that.
Second. Any discussion? Resolution, call for a vote, please. Roll call, yeah, there you go.
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Aye.
Councilmember Robles,
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Aye.
Councilmember Lizalde. Mayor Julian.
Hi, resolution passes. Thank
Please
you.
resign.
Thank you.
Effective.
You know, that group is establishing themselves as a, you know, as a community networking in the senior center. So anybody that's there to help enhance safety is very important.
Hey, Mayor,
Yes,
what is considered a senior at this point for the senior center?
that was 62.
62.
You make it?
Not yet.
He's hungry. I know Hannah doesn't.
Well, I was thinking the food.
You get ARP, bro, you're there.
My body's kind of run down.
Yeah, it could be your daughter.
The ARP, bro.
All right.
You sure?
Okay, item 15, technical amendments to the Guadalupe Municipal Code, Mr. Cinco.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the city council. This is a single ordinance that makes multiple and various amendments to our municipal code. We call it technical amendments. It's from a practice that the city of Santa Maria used to do on an annual basis when the code needed clarifications, corrections, minor modifications. And they were all handled at once, kind of a cleanup bill kind of thing that the legislature does also periodically. We haven't had a need to do it on an annual basis. I have been wanting to do it for the last couple of years, and I've been making a list during that time of code provisions that require corrections, modifications, or elimination. And as I said, these provisions are not intended to be substantive, but rather more in the nature of clerical corrections or minor changes. The clerical changes don't require too much comment. Some of them are just mistakes that I caught. The most significant of the clerical changes, which was caught by the finance department, when Elena Zate was the, if I said her name right, was the finance director. There was a question like, why should we be charging 5% or 7% for our utility users tax? We only charge 5%, but the code says 7%. So after some digging, I found out, as explained in the staff report, something happened in 1994 where an ordinance was passed. They thought it might take effect without a vote. There was a pending Supreme Court case that they had ruled like most people thought they were going to rule, the ordinance would have taken effect. For sure, the city probably withheld, or maybe there was a delay in the effective date of the ordinance. It's hard to tell with how long ago this occurred. But bottom line is the rate never increased from 5%. People have never been charged more than 5%. And then in 2014, when the measures, as they are locally known, were passed, there was a change to the utility users tax, but it wasn't anything to do with the rate. It had to do with lifting the cap on users. And so this is just a plain old mistake, and we're gonna fix it if you approve this ordinance. As far as minor changes, perhaps the most significant of them is change to Florida Business Code section 6.04.390, which is in chapter 6.04 concerning animals. Most of the violations in the animal section are pretty minor, such as dog off leash or not licensing and whatnot. But as I mentioned in the staff report, those could be serious violations on occasions. And dogs off leash attacks a small child, the city can fine them $100. That doesn't seem very serious. I mean, a very appropriate response. So the amendment that's being asked is to allow prosecutorial discretion to charge a violation for a first offense as a misdemeanor, in addition to also having the option to charge it as an infraction. This issue came up because I'm currently involved in a kind of a noise nuisance issue with barking dog that it required 3 infractions to be issued by animal control before I could do anything. And that created a lot of angst for the homeowners. They couldn't understand why nothing was being done. So I decided to include this in the technical amendments. Section GMC section 13, excuse me, GMC section 13.08.55 is a new section that's to be added. And this is at the request of Public Works Department. Currently, there's nothing in the code to clarify the ownership of the city versus the property owner for water lines running to and from a water meter. This amendment will make it clear that the city owns the lines from the main line to the meter and including the meter, but the property owner owns the line from the meter to the property. That way, if there's a problem with the water line on the other side of the meter, as the public works staffs like to say, the property owner can be cited, shown the code section that says they're responsible for maintaining it. It's not a city responsibility. This one's kind of funny. Came up during the cannabis ordinance several years ago when we made zoning for cannabis available in certain zones of the city, and it was discovered that 2 of those zones, the commercial recreational zone and urban industrial zone, weren't actually in use. Not sure how they got in the code or if they were never removed when the general plan was updated some years ago. But I've conferred with the planning director. He confirmed there's no zoning in the city. Those chapters are completely redundant, so we're proposing they be removed. Section from GMC section 18.08.345 is also related to the next one, GMC section 18.60.050. This deals with basically off-street parking spaces, the dimensions and a garage. There was some amendments during the process that the planning director was doing for the zoning code over several stages. And it resulted in some confusion as to what is appropriate. Certainly the 20-foot depth for off-street parking space was a mistake inside a garage. That may have referred to the dimensions of the garage, but it was unclear whether it referred to the parking space in the garage or the garage itself. In any case, it was decided just to get rid of any reference to actual parking space inside a garage, to avoid any confusion, and also to standardize the off-street parking spaces so they're all the same size. From now on, if this ordinance is adopted, they will be 9 feet wide by 19 feet deep. except in the single family zone when there's a single family car garage, in which case the width will be 11 feet. These two sections, the modifications will solve any uncertainty in widths, or excuse me, the dimensions of off-street parking spaces. And finally, the GMC section 18.75.030 is we're requesting removal of language from the employee housing ordinance that was believed to be lawful when enacted, but because of subsequent changes in state law, particularly regarding the expansion of accessory dwelling units, it's raised the likelihood that this would be unlawful. And therefore, just best to get rid of that language altogether. Specifically, it was intended to treat all single-family parcels the same if they were going to be used for employee housing. And again, employee housing in most cities is used by agricultural workers, but it's not necessarily limited to that. It could involve other types of workers. But if the goal of that language was if a single-family parcel had a single-family house, up to 6 employees could be housed there as a recognized agricultural, as a lawful residential use. But if 7 were going to be housed in the house, it would require a conditional use permit by the city council. And the ordinance as it's currently written says it's basically per parcel, not per structure. So if a single family house added an accessory dwelling unit, a detached one, and maybe a junior ADU, that would allow more people to reside there. And the thought at the time was that would be a inconsistent treatment of single family parcels. The idea was to treat all the parcels the same. But again, given the changes in accessory development law, this doesn't seem any viable any longer from a defensible legal standard. I believe that's it. They're available to answer any questions you may have. And hopefully the next one next year, if there is one, or 2 years from now, will be shorter.
So glad you love to do this.
Do you like?
Any questions?
Well, someone's got to do it.
Do you like?
Thank you for this update. I've actually had someone, very close to me have had their dog attacked several times, and so it's great to get an update on it.
Is there a motion to introduce on the first reading and continue its meeting of February 27, 24 for second reading and adoption of ordinance 2024-515, making technical non-substantive or minor amendments to the Guadalupe Municipal Code, GMC.
I motion to approve, first reading of the ordinance 2024-515.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All ayes. All right, moving along.
Mr. Mayor, I've decided to give Mr. Brandenberry a night off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I told him I would handle this. We worked closely on this report, even though he's the signatory.
Okay, item 16 is approval of the first final composition of the Board of Directors for nonprofit corporations to be formed by the city and change funding granted to the nonprofit to a forgivable loan. Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I apologize for that excruciatingly long title. But there's a lot going on here, as you might imagine. As you know, and I won't go into excruciating detail because you already have, and the staff report's pretty thorough. The council has authorized the creation of a nonprofit corporation in part to hopefully obtain new market tax credits to assist with the Royal Theater renovation project. However, the staff recommended and council agreed that the mission of the nonprofit should not necessarily be limited to that purpose. It should have a broader focus or mission, more general for community support and other economic development. And so previously the council approved hiring an attorney to prepare the legal documents. And also at a subsequent meeting, Mr. Brandenberry brought forward key bylaw provisions such as the composition of the board, which would be initially 5, expandable to 7. Recommended that the mayor be appointed as the president, and initially, just to get the ball rolling, the the finance director would be appointed as the secretary / treasurer. As soon as other members of the board were appointed, that the secretary position would be given to another member. But that basically, that would give the city 2 seats on the board, but not control, because control would not be consistent with the new market tax credit requirements. And so far, so good. But after further review, I discovered that having, and also, I'm sorry, also the city council approved granting $10,000 in startup funds for the new corporation. That was a separate from the monies to be paid to the attorney to form the corporation. So on further review, the appointing of the mayor or any member for that matter of the council to the board of directors combined with the funding of the corporation had an unfortunate potential consequence in that it would essentially make the corporation a Brown Act body, which would be essentially like a city committee or commission. And it doesn't make sense to that kind of administrative burden on a nonprofit corporation and increase their costs and their difficulty in taking action, which defeats in large part the advantages of a nonprofit corporation. And therefore, the solution that was proposed and staff recommends tonight is for the city council to rescind its previous appointment of the mayor as the president and instead appoint or approve the appointment of the city administrator, Todd Bodum, as the president. The bylaws, when they're finally formed and written, will include that. And the other action related to that is to appoint the 3 other members of the board. The mayor announced at the last meeting that he had obtained consent from Dr. Emilio Handel, the Guadalupe Union School District, Garrett Matsura. I think I spelled his name wrong, sorry.
No, that's correct.
Oh, it is, okay, good. Affiliated with the Guadalupe Business Association, and Michael Jimenez representing a nonprofit providing services to Guadalupe. This is a perfect distribution of entities to beyond that corporate nonprofit corporation. And they had told the mayor they would consent to, gave their permission to be nominated. So staff is recommending that the city council approve those 3 individuals as well, in addition to appointing Mr. Bodum and rescinding its appointment of the mayor. And finally, because the potential funding of the corporation, although it's not absolutely necessary to change the 10,000 in startup funds from a grant into a forgivable loan, it is recommended, just to make it clear that the city is trying to create some distance between the organization. It's wanting the money back if it's successful in getting funding. But if it fails in that mission for whatever reason, then the loan can be forgivable. Staff will prepare a agreement for the city and the new nonprofit to enter into concerning that, to be approved by the city council, because because the city administrator will likely be on the board. We do not want him signing the agreement on both sides. So, I think that is all available for any questions. This action would essentially end the city's involvement with this, because the board would be formed. Assuming the bylaws are approved by the new members, including the provision that requires the city council to approve the members. The city council's proactively already done that, so it won't be necessary to reapprove them. They will take action to finalize and prepare the bylaws. Staff also intends to prepare a memorandum of understanding for both sides to negotiate. The council will weigh in on the terms of that MOU, and then the new board of directors will weigh in on that, and hopefully they'll be in agreement about the expectations for both, because the goal, of course, of this is not for the corporation to go off and do its own thing, but to work in partnership with the city for a common betterment of this, or the common interests of the city as a whole. That concludes my staff report. I am available to answer any questions.
Any questions?
I think resolution is spelled wrong, all of that.
On this one,
Yeah.
Is it?
let's see, I didn't look like it on the printed one.
Oh, the spell,
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Did I see the folder again?
the spell check doesn't catch capitals.
No,
Which
The,
one?
the,
Oh,
the manila envelope, this one.
oh, that one, yeah.
I was looking for that. I didn't see that. I didn't see that in any of the other ones. But it does look very, it's not on all of them. It's
Just
on,
the first one.
it's on that one,
We're not gonna
and-
die on that hill. so.
and, you know, it's funny, it's not on the printed copy. So I don't know, maybe you wanna clock that one, but not the other one.
That's funny.
That is strange.
Almost weird. It's like-
Yeah, it is on this one for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt resolution
Right.
2024-16?
What?
And make a motion to adopt resolution number 2024-16.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Only because I see that we have people on here from this town that run it, and an individual that's on here isn't. And I don't feel that person has enough love for our city to be a part of this nonprofit. And also, I'm gonna have to just say right now, no.
no?
Yeah.
Councilmember Robles,
I,
Councilmember Hernandez. Councilmember Salvi, Mayor Jillian.
Aye. Resolution passes. All right, where are we? Future agenda item. Coming back with
One would be filling vacancy.
filling
Yes,
vacancy. The stipend,
Yes,
Okay.
for Mr. Mayor, the mayor, for the benefit of the council, there was there was an item that I prepared based on the previous, council salary increase. And, after consideration, it was decided and it was discussed with the mayor, that it would be best to present a more general kind of roundtable type, rather than the type of staff report that was prepared before, that the action to actually raise the salary or whatever or not would not be taken at that particular meeting, but it would be more of a discussion item rather than an action item. So I just wanted you to know that that's what we're planning to do.
okay, any other items for future agenda items? Next item, announcements, council activity reports.
I would like to share that Jennifer Claus will be here again this Sunday, February 18th, for a pet wellness clinic with free microchips at Guadalupe Fire Station. You can sign up on their website if you want a more in-depth care. As well as this weekend is Celebrate Black History Month, Saturday at the Lavadino Plaza. Saturday, February 24th, they will have a grand celebration. Viva Lance will also be hosting Cuita Penas on March 9th at 7 p.m. Cuita Pena means to remove worries. Everybody has a pena, and the mission of Cuita Penas is simple: to make you dance and leave you without a worry. This group was made up of first generation sons of immigrant parents from Guatemala and Mexico. They borrow aesthetics from the radical sixties, seventies, and eighties. Each song echoes a remix of history and invites one to engage in the liberating evening of Angaloa, Peru, Colombia, Brazil, and beyond. As well, the Fighting Back San Manuel Valley Coalition is looking for donations to help support our youth for their upcoming event. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I have some flyers to share.
You mentioned Lavadino. Where's?
At the library, Center.
Yeah, the Lavandino Plaza is in front of the library.
Okay, didn't know that. And then, in the post office too, eventually. The post office will be linked up there.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. San Maria Post Office. Any updates, on your end?
No, I just want to thank the community for coming out to our Caltrans informational meeting, and we had a pretty good turnout. We hosted that, and it was good, and hopefully we get a lot of information and a lot of good feedback.
And to piggyback on that, I mean, it mentioned in the report that the staff, whatever staff went all out to provide goodies, and to welcome the community in there. So it was good turnout. Gene, anything? No. Just to put back, we saw last, because we had to cancel because of the first Thursday, last Thursday, the 8th, there was 189 returning individuals, families that we list, and then 42 new, for a total of 231 participants, equaling 924 individuals served. There's SBCAG meeting this coming Thursday and San Maria and in Santa Barbara, if anybody wishes to participate in that. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, before we take any further action, I just wanted you to know that the staff is recommending the closed session not take place. There's nothing to discuss at this time. So before we, just for the benefit of anyone watching now, the closed session is not going forward.
But we're still going with the.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to adjourn the successor agency board meeting?
I'll motion to adjourn to the successor agency board meeting.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All ayes. New hats, successor agency. Item 20, approval of the minutes of the successor agency special meeting of January 20th, 2024.
Last time it was discussion meeting, and that's why.
Let's,
Just the
let's have a roll
minutes.
call. We gotta have a
It's just the minutes.
Yes.
roll call, please.
Councilmember Garza Junior,
Here.
Councilmember Robles,
Present.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Yeah.
Mayor Julian.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, I just noticed, I apologize, I didn't look at this before the meeting, the minutes do require correction. They list council member and mayor pro tem as opposed to the correct titles for the successor board, which is,
Whatever it is for an
member,
RDA.
member, we
Yeah,
have
I
a
think
name
so.
board members, and chair, so we'll just, if you adopt the minutes with the corrected titles for the officers.
Yeah, in other words, yeah, I get it.
If you look at the minutes, it says like in the roll call, it says council member Christina Hernandez, et cetera. Should say board member as opposed to council member. And I apologize, I didn't notice that until just now.
He's right, yeah.
Okay. Regular business
Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't vote on that.
on the change, on the
I
regret.
would just, I don't
No,
think
on
there's,
the-
we
on
have
the-
to vote to
the
adopt the
minutes.
minutes.
Stop the
I make a motion to adopt the minutes with the updated
title.
title.
So we gotta go to the
I'll
president.
second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, good catch.
Okay, these are just the minutes. It's not-
Yeah, there's no report.
Okay,
Back to
Adjournment to, is there a motion to adjourn to the city council, there's no closed session.
Yeah, we can
so,
just adjourn.
Adjourn to the open session, is there a motion to adjourn to the open session?
A motion to adjourn to open session council meeting.
I second.
All those in favor of the motion say aye,
Aye.
Motion.
there's a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn our city council meeting.
A second,
that.
Mr. Robles, seconded. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye.